Hi everyone, it's been a couple days. Like I said, I devoted all of January to paperwork, and February is going to be spending my time doing errands outside of the house. So today we're going to talk about a subject that is it's not a good subject. Yeah, this is about DV. Okay, you know what that stands for. I can't say the word because YouTube will not monetize it. They don't like people to talk about this, which people should, because there is a stigma. Okay, and this is for the ladies, some of you men too. When some women are going through this, they tell friends, they tell their parents. Most of the time, the moms believe them. But when you tell your relatives and some of your friends, they automatically think, oh, you're the problem. You're the problem, and you are projecting it to make it look like it's not you. It's all about, your abuser. Okay. This has happened to me many times. My most trusted relatives, I told, about this, and they looked at me like, oh, here goes the drama queen again. No. I rarely talk about this, but narcissists feed on that. They feed on that because they have projected themselves to be outstanding citizens who would never do anything like that. And so it's a charade, and it still goes, and that's what they're hoping. Because your relatives and your friends will say, oh God, here she goes again. What's she going to say this time? People, take anybody who says that they're abused seriously. I mean it. I once worked with a woman who came in every day with bruises. Do you think she put those bruises on her every other day? I mean, it got so bad that my manager had to let her go because it wasn't a good reflection on the company. Now, if I had been that manager, I would have sat the girl down and said, what is wrong with you that you stay with this person? Yeah, so when someone tells you something in confidence, there is a shame factor, a big shame factor in having to reveal this. So, yeah, I am still angry at some of my friends and relatives who didn't believe me. Maybe they believe me now since I left, yeah? Because only like 2 or 3 people ever saw my ex's true colors. And believe me, when they saw this, their jaw dropped. One person happened to walk into our living room, and my ex did not know that she was standing there. But because she needs a paycheck, she really can't take sides. Yeah, and I tried to make some of my employees confidants. You can't do that. You can't do that, because my ex would say, don't be telling them things like, come to find out he was doing the same thing. He was going up there and telling them things that were not true. Oh my God. So this is a serious issue, because why would victims of domestic violence put themselves through this scrutiny and this ridicule if it wasn't true? Now, I once had to go to a mental hospital. And I remember my parents came in there and they looked at me and they said, "Why don't you divorce him?" And I go, oh, because I still love him. You can confuse love. I was confusing sex with love. Yeah. I was definitely, because I thought, oh, well, if he gives me a little bit of his body and his time, oh yeah, he must love me. I had to beg for that. I had to beg for that, really. So they ration out that kind of attention, and it's trauma bonding, people. If you don't know what that is, I encourage you to study trauma bonding. It's like the Patty Hearst thing for some of you all who are little same age as me. Yeah, and I stayed too long because of my upbringing. My pastors never talked about divorce in the church atmosphere. It was just not. I was shocked when I realized that you could get a divorce. I go, oh, you can? And I was in church 3 times a week growing up, people. My pastors never talked about it. So I've heard Dr. Phil say, for women who stay in this environment, that something is wrong with them. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you what's wrong with them. Their self-esteem has been eroded to nothing. Nothing. I was told by my ex that nobody liked me. Nobody liked me at all. Yeah, and I started to believe it. Finally, I asked a couple people, I go, do you like me? Do you see how it eroded my self-esteem? And let me tell you what, when I was a teenager, I had all the self-esteem in the world. Yeah, that's what's wrong. That's why women stay in this situation, because they feel that there's no way out and that no one's going to love them. They've been made to feel that way. Or they've been threatened with, oh, I'm going to take your children, or our children. You're not going to get the children. That is a big issue for people who have children. Yeah. So the situation is very sad for a lot of people. Yeah, and very sad. So if you see somebody's personality totally changing, that is a big indication that there's something going on at home, okay? Something's going on. My mother saw it. She sure did. And I was so tearful every night, every day, every morning, and I had no one, because the narcissist will isolate you. They don't want you to be close to any friends. They don't want you to they just isolate you from your family. They give you a hard time if you want to, go visit them. I had to sleep with my keys and my phone under my pillow. Now, here's a part that you need to listen to if you didn't hear anything else I said. When you plan your escape, You've got to make sure you have your important papers, your marriage certificate, your birth certificates, your children's birth certificate, your social security numbers, any important information, tax records. You need to have that already removed from your residence. Go get a safe deposit box or go get a storage unit. I had to do that. I bought the smallest storage unit I could, and I rented it for $50 a month. And when you finally leave, you can't let them know that you're leaving, because that is when most of the DV happens, okay? That is when they start lashing out, and they will hurt you. Yes, they will. And I had to plan my escape. And it takes women sometimes 6-7 times to leave before they finally leave forever. And then you must go no contact, because your significant other will put their charm on you, right? Yeah. And you just can't let them know. This is how I planned mine. I had the grandchildren over, and I told him he had to take them home. While he was taking them home, I had already, my suitcases packed, already had them in my car, and I left. And so you have to plan your escape very carefully. You can't let them know you're leaving, because that's when the shit will hit the fan. Now, for those of you who think I left because of my own selfish reasons, oh yeah, I'll tell you why I left. Because I wanted to live. I didn't want to be hurt. My ex would chase me up and down the stairs. He put holes in every door in our house. People. Yeah, I left for selfish reasons. I wanted to live. Yeah. We had a full-time carpenter who did nothing but replace the doors in our house. Okay? So, I'm sure there might be a couple of my relatives, I have a lot of them, who are watching this. I will be waiting for your apology. Even my closest relatives said, go back there. Go back there. You're giving up a lot of money, a lot of assets. I'm not stupid. I did not go back there. I was lucky to get out. I had to fight my family. They wanted me to go back to that situation. I said, are you guys nuts? Uh-huh. Yeah. So you've got to plan your exit very strategically, like some kind of, I don't know, undercover operation. Yeah. So, yeah, be very careful who you tell this issue to, because it will get back to your spouse. I finally had to get a protective order. Now, they're trying to change the laws where you don't have to give up your weapon or your concealed weapons permit. I'm an ex-police officer. And that's, they're trying to change the laws so that you wouldn't have to give up your weapon. Because, my God, you might need it, right? Yeah. So, here's another story that I'm embarrassed to even say. My ex knew I was very good on the firing range and with the gun. I mean, I was excellent. He had me served when I had left him and I moved into my summer home at Ocean City. Now, my friend lives across the street. She saw everything. Now, this is before my spinal fusion. I had to have a major operation in the middle of all this stuff, people. I was sitting on the couch with my grandchildren. We were watching Dark Shadows. They were like mesmerized, and my back was hurting so bad I had my granddaughter walk on it. And I was in my pajamas. You know, I had top and bottom. I hear a knock at the door. There's 3 police officers dressed in black and full battle gear. And they said they were looking very scared. And I go, what the hell? They came in and they served me with a PO, okay? Later on, after they left, my grandchildren are terrified. They're still terrified to this day after what happened. My friend came over and she goes, Debbie, what the hell? I said, it's my ex. She says, oh my God. She goes, you don't understand. There was 20 police officers on the street hiding behind our bushes all the way up and down. My ex had said something that made them think that I was going to come out there shooting. I was with my grandchildren. I would never hurt anybody. Oh my God. She was mortified. She was traumatized. She could not believe what was happening. You know, this is the crap I had to deal with a lot. And yeah, when you get ready to leave your abuser, you better be prepared for everything. Yeah. It's awful. My grandchildren were old enough to remember. They still talk about it to this day. You know? They still talk about this to this day. This is the first time I think I've ever told you guys this, but it's very embarrassing. It's very embarrassing, some of the things that I had to go through. But that's the stigma that I'm talking about, people. That's the stigma. Yeah, my neighbor was just, she could not believe. Because we have been on 50 vacations together. I have never, ever exhibited any kind of physical behavior like that. In fact, one time when we were in the Dominican at the checkpoint, it's a famous expat place, I heard, very few people know this unless you've been around a firing range or if you're a police officer or if you're a hunter, you know this sound. I heard an AK-47 being shot. I fell on my friend to save her in case there were other shots. I actually covered my body over her because I love her so much. And her husband was in the restroom just feet from me. And I said, stay in there, don't come out. But yeah, that's the kind of friend I am, that I would cover, that I would protect you from getting hurt.